Yeah, so again, the last week in our series, Living with Awareness, we've been exploring awareness for, well, of course, we always explore awareness in meditation night, but more explicitly exploring aspects of awareness these last 7 weeks and tonight. So great to have you back with us. So it's about 5 past. Let me introduce the team here tonight. I'll say again, I'm Samudraghosha, just in case any of you haven't come across me, or can be helpful just to hear names again, especially if they're 5 syllables. And with me in the upper shrine room here, as is often the case, there is Liz.
Hello.
Doing the technical side of things, which is fantastic. At the back is Vidyasaki.
Hello, everyone.
And also with us is Priyadaka.
Hello.
Who's been my co-leader for this Thursday night series. So, yeah, here we are in our last evening of this series. Yeah, if you haven't said hello in the chat, do please feel free still to introduce yourself, at least for the next moments before I really get going. But yeah, welcome everybody. So I'm following on in a way tonight from something I was talking about 2 weeks ago. I think many of you were here for that, or you may have watched it subsequently. So last week I was talking about opening up to life, so exploring, just bringing more awareness and appreciation to the simple facts of being alive, being aware, breathing. So that was kind of theme a couple of weeks ago. And we're going to sort of build on that in a way, or it may not be totally obvious, but build on that tonight. So this afternoon, I was looking. I picked up a book. I was looking for a quote or something that might fill what I thought was a bit of a gap in my presentation for tonight, and I came across a reference to stones. Might sound not the stones, stones, and I thought, oh, I could bring a stone. So I brought a stone with me. Keep this on my shrine in my room. I'll just show it to you. There's the side that's got a little painting on it. You don't need to be able to see the details. I'm just giving you an impression of it. So there's rather a story behind this stone. So this stone I collected when I was on a long retreat in the Spanish mountains. So this is going back 15 years. I was on the retreat, in fact, on which I was ordained, and indeed so was Priyadaka here. And we were given these cases, as they're called, and also our names. And I haven't got time to go into the details, but I had a particular dream on this retreat, which led to my doing a sort of personal ritual outside involving lots of stones. And at the end of it, I took one of them, and I asked another friend of mine on the retreat, Jaya Rava, who also lives in Cambridge, to paint a design on me that was referring to the dream. And I've kept that because it carries a lot of significance for me. So I brought it back and thought I'd bring it in tonight. And it occurred to me, there's the whole question of, well, how did this stone get onto YouTube? And in a way, it's an incredibly simple answer. I just collected it from the mountains in Spain, and I thought of bringing it here. But if you really get into that question, There's rather more to it than that. There's rather more to it than that. There's a whole story there, and that's just the surface level to do with that dream, that retreat, the reasons I was on that retreat, which go very, very deep. The whole existence of that retreat centre, the existence of this class, of those of you watching, because if no one was watching, we wouldn't be doing it. So much has gone into this simple thing of me holding up this stone in front of you. And that's not to get into the formation of the stone over very long periods of time. And there's far more one could say about this. So just so much that's just implicit in the simple act of holding this stone up and being able to have that experience in this context or any other context. So why am I talking about this? Why am I talking about stones and so on? Well, we have lots of ideas about the way things are, and reality is more complex and more subtle and richer than that. That is, from a sort of philosophical point of view, the core of what I'm talking about tonight. Excuse me. Our ideas about how things are not equal to reality. And that's true at every level. Ideas are useful, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't be able to give this talk without ideas. But they're not equal to reality. We have all sorts of ideas about who we are. Some of you on the course will have heard me talk in this vein earlier, I think. We have all sorts of ideas about the sort of person we are. But the actual reality of who we are, who is Samudraghosha? I mean, I assure you, I'm a very changing being, with all sorts of different sides to me. A fairly decent coherence these days, but nevertheless different sides to me, always changing and actually inseparable from other people and the conditions around me. And that's just getting started. And then there's my potential. And the same is true for you. We all have this tremendous changing, complex, interrelated nature. We're not just like this, just like that. And that can be really important to recognise, or to keep recognising rather, because we keep going back to those ideas. So yeah, our ideas about reality are not adequate to, don't actually do justice to reality. And actually, it's not just we get the wrong ideas, we cannot describe reality in words, in concepts. We cannot. Words, again, are very helpful, very useful, especially in communication, but they cannot do justice to really any part of reality apart from a purely abstract world. Again, though, they are useful in their own right. Coming back to the present, and more, yeah. So I'm picking up the stone again, and now I'm going to feel it. And there's a lot going on in this sensation. The edges of this stone are kind of hard. There's a strange softness as well, almost as if something is sort of flaking off, which it may well be. In fact, it must be, mustn't it? And they're not straight. There's a lot of complexity in the edges of this stone. It's a very rich experience, but I'm simply feeling a stone. So, what enables this sort of experience? Because I could easily just say, oh yeah, it's just a stone. I just stick a label on it, on the experience of it. So what enables this sort of richer experience? Well, there's far more we could say about this than there's time for tonight, but taking time, giving attention, having a sensitivity of awareness that comes about partly through a lot of meditation over time, being open to the experience and what it is, rather than just thinking I already know what the experience is. And if we can do that, then things open up for us. Otherwise, we just sort of stick a label on, maybe even without noticing that we're doing it. To quote, William Blake, there's the oft-quoted verse: "To see a world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wild flower. To hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour." I think that pretty much conveys it. There's a lot there, isn't there? And there's something in it that can move us in that. It was moving me. All right, so what's this got to do with meditation? I've already made some references. And that's probably obvious. It's got a lot to do with meditation. In fact, I think I'm only just starting these days to realise that it's got a lot to do with meditation. So for starters, when doing the mindfulness of breathing, which is what we're doing tonight, it's not just our idea about the breath that we're paying attention to. So it's not like someone's holding up a sign in front of us saying in breath, out breath, in breath, out breath. We can do that. We can do that without realising even that we're doing it. And it's not that the label in itself is a bad thing, but if that's all that's happening, then actually we're not really meditating. We need to get beneath the label to the actual experience, wherever it is that we're feeling it, which is what's telling us that there's the in-breath, there's the out-breath. So we need to get below the label to the actual experience. And we must be having that experience, or we wouldn't know that it was the in-breath or the out-breath, or even that we're breathing, other than as an idea, purely. So letting go of those ideas, there's nothing wrong with them in and of themselves, but getting to the experience underneath. So being open to our experience, being open to what's there, not thinking we already know what the experience is like, what it's going to be. We're going to have expectations, but if we notice those, just letting them go, experiencing what's actually there as fully and richly as we can. This is something which develops with practice, of course. But we don't know what our experience is. We don't know. We don't know what our experience is always going to be. We may be able to predict it in very, very basic categories, but not anything like the richness of what our experience actually is. So I'm going to meditate in just a sec, just a moment. I'm going to do the mindfulness of breathing. I'll lead us through that, and I'll drop in a few things of this flavour. If your meditation is really opening up in the meditation, if it's really sort of opening up, or a richer and subtler awareness is developing, feel free to completely ignore everything I'm saying and just go with that. You can even ignore the stages of the bells if your meditation is really starting to, go deeper. So if you want to get ready for meditation, we will do that. So settling into your meditation posture. Enjoying, hopefully, a sense of a still body, or a body that's starting to be still. There might still be a bit of movement in the body. There is in mine, but that's okay. And there will be movement in the body, but yeah. And just letting go, letting the body relax whilst keeping an uprightness, an alertness. Noticing your contact with your seat. Sensation of touch. And also with the ground. And starting by bringing awareness into the feet. Just experiencing the feet, opening up to what's happening in the feet right now. Maybe that not very much presents itself very evidently, but just relaxing as far as you can, relaxing into an awareness of sensations in the feet. Might be temperature, might be sort of tingling, slight tensions, whatever. Don't need to be able to name it. Bringing awareness up to the ankles, lower legs, just taking them in. Noticing how they are right now. The knees, the thigh muscles, all the sensations in the upper legs. Just being open to them, curious about what's there. Totally ordinary and utterly extraordinary at the same time. Bring your awareness again to the buttocks, the groin, letting some of the sensations in that area come into our awareness. And again, sort of relaxing into this deeper awareness, not trying to force anything. If it's not coming, being relaxed about that. Just seeing what we are noticing. Bringing awareness to the back, from the lower back, through the middle, and upper back. Notice the clothes touching. Letting the spine be naturally upright. Bringing awareness to the back of the neck. Letting that be long. The head and face. What's going on in the face? Just taking it in as far as you can. Letting go as far as you can. Noticing the shoulders, letting go in the shoulders, if that's possible. And bringing attention down the arms, all the way down into the fingers. Hands and fingers are full of sensations. Not possible to take it all in. But let some of it come to you. Bringing our attention to the gut. Seeing if we can let it drop down if it's a bit tensed. Maybe noticing sensations of breathing now in the gut. And then the chest. Tuning in more fully now to the breathing. This very mysterious process that brings life. Just opening up to some of the breathing sensations, wherever. Seeing if you can relax into more awareness of that direct experience of the body breathing. Don't need to be able to label anything that's happening. Just being with it. Moving to the first stage of the mindfulness of breathing. So in this stage, we're particularly focusing on the out breath. We're using the count, letting that be quiet in the background. So what's prominent is the actual experience of breathing. Constantly changing process. And we know that each out breath is preceded by an in breath, followed by one. And that's about all we know. So in the second stage, shifting our focus a little to the in breath. You notice that it's more an idea of the breath that you're aware of. See if you can get below that to the actual sensation in the body. Even enjoying the experience of awareness of the breathing sensations. constantly shifting. We may notice other sensations as well in the body. A rich, complex, ever-shifting tapestry of sensation. And if that's something you're not able to experience right now, just relaxing, being patient and kind with yourself, staying with what is actually happening, especially in the body. And the third stage, letting go of the counting, if you're doing that, seeing if we can stay with the whole of the breathing process. Beginning of an in-breath through to the end of the out-breath. Not forcing that, letting the experience come to us, being open to it. If the mind wanders off, just relaxing, coming gently back to the body, back to whatever sensations present themselves, back to the breath. Staying with the process we do not know. Even though it is very intimate. Now moving, if you're ready, into the fourth stage, bringing our focus to one point. Maybe that point where the breath enters the body. We may think we know what this experience will be like. Letting that go. Experiencing it afresh as far as we can. Staying with the actual experience, this mysterious, changing experience in a relaxed way. And now letting go of the practice, but staying in meditation, opening to whatever's going on, just being present, nothing more to do or to try to do than that. And when I ring the final bell, gently bringing the meditation to an end without rushing. Okay. So there's a little bit of space now, as you're probably all used to. And there's space here for questions or comments about your experience in that meditation. Or anything to do with the presentation earlier. Yeah, so do please feel free to share anything you'd like to or to ask. Maybe a question for you, if I'm very happy to hear whatever, but maybe not literally whatever. A question for you is, was there any quality of the experience of meditating then that surprised you, or did any type of experience develop which was perhaps a bit different or not so familiar? Or anything else you learned from the experience of that meditation?
Carrie says that she noticed how it took her mind so much longer to settle, having had a hectic day, which is very different from when she meditates first thing in the morning.
Right. Yeah, sorry, who's that?
That's Carrie.
Carrie, thank you, Carrie. Yeah, no, it's true, isn't it? It just shows what we've been doing has a big effect upon our mind. Of course, that's why we meditate. And the meditation, I imagine, well, you said you settled, so that will then have something of an effect the rest of the evening, extend even perhaps tomorrow.
We've got 2 questions. We've got one from Linda, who says she finds it difficult to just sit and keeps on getting drawn back into the meditation. Any tips?
Yeah, interesting one. Is that Linda in the team?
Yeah.
So, just sitting is what we call the bit at the end of the meditation, where we sort of, as I said, be present to whatever's going on at the very end. Yeah, so getting drawn back into the meditation. Well, I guess if you've got the time, just get drawn back into the meditation. In the context of a class like this, I guess you have to choose between turning the sound off or not doing that. But if you've got the time to meditate for longer and that's your natural inclination, you're great. Otherwise, I don't know. Interesting question. You've got a time constraint. I haven't got any immediate thoughts on that. Anyone else in the team got any thoughts on that?
Well, in a way, it's just interesting to notice what happens when you just sit. It's just interesting to notice that, where the mind tends to.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, it is partly a practice of learning a bit more about oneself. Yeah. I think so. Did you say there's something else, Liz?
Yeah, there's a couple more things come through. So Liz B says she struggles with consciousness and has to keep her eyes open at times. Is this a precursor to deeper meditation or just sleepiness?
Sorry, how did you put it again, the first part?
So struggling with consciousness
Struggling
and having to keep
consciousness.
your eyes open.
Yeah. If you're struggling to keep your eyes open, but you wanted to keep your eyes open, that definitely sounds like sort of drifting off, as it were. And that's a tricky one, actually. Sometimes does that simply mean that we need more sleep? Sometimes it's a resistance to actually going deeper in meditation. Something in the mind is not wanting to experience deeper experience. That can be that. If it is sleepiness, then something to stimulate the mind may be needed. Bringing the attention up in the body can help, or the in-breath rather than the out-breath. Opening the eyes, well, it sounds like you're already doing that. Keeping the eyes open. But working with sleepiness is a real art. Sometimes if I'm doing a longer sit than this one, I'd actually allow myself to drift off briefly, and I wake up and now I can really meditate. But that is not necessarily a good idea, especially if that's happening all the time, but it may not be.
Selena says that she found the body scan interesting. Telling my body I'm here, I'm listening had a good effect.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? There's so much going on within the body, and much of it, in one way or another, in a sense, sort of wants to be listened to, wants to be heard. That's very true. Yeah.
And Linda's just commented that she puts, I tend to think that the just sitting is to do with integrating the practice, though. So going back to her previous point about being drawn back into meditation.
Yes. Well, the just sitting can be, it's often spoken about in terms of experiencing the fruits of the practice. Sometimes we say that. But it can be just experiencing whatever's going on. If we've been just all over the place in trying to focus on the breath, and then we just sit, sometimes what happens is actually we relax in a way we weren't able to before, and we're actually then more aware. That can happen. Yeah. It's a practice one can do simply just by itself, actually. It doesn't have to be at the end of mindfulness breathing or metta bhavana. It's definitely good to do that.
And Janet put that I found I was noticing a lot more body sensations than usual, which was a very interesting experience.
Thanks, Janet. Yes, that was my experience in the meditation. And hopefully it's something richness that one can enjoy as well, and help the mind actually. The minds become subtler when that happens. Our awareness become more sensitive, more refined. Maybe refined is the wrong word, more sensitive. And that is part of the object of meditation. So that's a positive sign. We had better start to finish. We've got some announcements which Vidyasaki is going to give. So she's going to come up to the camera. I'm going to take off her mask.
Hello everyone, nice to see you. It's been a while actually since I was in front of this camera. And I'm here just to say that we are going to take a break. So meditation night won't be happening for the rest of December. But don't worry, we have got a plan for you. We are going to be meditating for the rest of December, starting the 14th, on Monday and Saturday mornings. So you can join us on Monday morning at 8 o'clock, Monday the 14th of December, for a Zoom session of meditation. So there'll be a small amount of input and then a spaciously led meditation in the style that Samudraghosha was doing this evening. And also on Saturdays at 8, until around 10:15. So there'll be time then for a double sit and a little Q&A, a little bit like this, but it'll be on Zoom, so a little bit more intimacy. We'd love to see you there. I'll be there. And in the new year, we've got all sorts of plans for meditation night, starting with a series called Meditation Essentials on the 6th of January. So we started this YouTube meditation night this year, sometime in March, and we love doing it, actually. We've really appreciated you coming along. I think, Sam, you've probably been to most of the sessions, and it's been really, really enjoyable, and we love it. But we're going to regroup a little bit, polish up our plans, and be back in the new year. But we'd love to see you on Zoom in the meantime. So I think that's it. Samudraghosha.
Right. Thank you, Vidyasaki. So all that remains is to say thank you for coming. And again, I mean that this class would not exist without you. And yeah, please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. We topped 300 subscribers yesterday or today, which is fantastic. And if you are able and want to financially support us in what we're doing, please do. This class is without charge, and that's absolutely fine. And the centre does need money to run. So if you're able and want to help, please do, especially if you can do a regular donation. Liz has posted the link. So great. And I won't see you on a Thursday night again probably until February, but or at least you won't see me. But yeah, have a great December, and enjoy the events the centre is running here in December, and see you sometime in the new year. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.